Okay, so we're making an animated GIF. Here's my PNG images, and I just want everyone to note that there is a naming convention here that's designed to help you get this into your project, but there is a little bit of a challenge in that. Unfortunately, it starts at 2, and we're going to be loading these into arrays. What does the array index start at? Oh, yeah, 0. Yeah, you bet. Not 2, unfortunately. So there is a bit of a mismatch with how this is going to work. That's fine. We can just like add 2 to the index, and then that will give us the file, the number of the picture for the file. But there is another slight issue, and that is that for a single-digit number like 2, there's a leading 0. For a 2-digit number like 10 or 29, there's no leading 0. So either you could rename the files to remove that leading 0 on the first set of files, or we could programmatically add in a 0 when that number is less than 10. So you can decide which way you want to do it. What do you guys think right now? How many people are going to just rename the files? Yeah, right? Just probably fast just to rename the files. Although I enjoyed making a little, my code have a little like solving mechanism for that. If you have more than 3 digits worth of numbers, like over 100 frames, you have a lot of zeros to get rid of, and that's not going to be particularly fun. So either don't use it, or we'll talk about it later on how you can insert those extra zeros. And again, for anyone watching at home, because you're not here today, sorry, I'll just zoom out. We got our pictures from easygif.com, and that's just the way we split these into separate images. So hopefully that works for you. Okay, so let's go and write some code to get this into our screen. So I'm going to have void draw, void setup, and not in that order. Void setup first, void draw. I'm going to just make a 600 by 600 screen. And we're going to need to have an array of pictures. So does anybody remember what the data type is for images? P-image, you got it. Or PyMage, depending on how you want to pronounce that. But P-image clearly makes more sense than PyMage. So we'll go with that. So P-image, and then how do we turn that into not just a single picture, but an array of P-images? What symbols do we have to stick in there? Yeah, the square brackets, also known as simply brackets, as opposed to braces and parentheses. So, and then you can give it the name you want. I'm going to call it GIF. And there it is. And if you recall from last day, if we do that step, we've made this name GIF, and it will connect to an array of P images. But what is it right now? What is it currently? Its value, I guess. We illustrated it with a downward arrow. And we got a lot of a lot of errors last year around that thing. There's some kind of exception. Null pointer, that's right. Currently, GIF is a null pointer, which means it's not attached. There's no array attached to it. It's just a hook waiting for an array to be hung on it. And in the future, we'll use that hook for good. But right now, no good can come of having a null pointer. So we actually have to create the array, build the array, and hang it onto that hook. So in the setup, you can do that. You can say GIF equals a new p-image array. This is us building the array and hanging it on the hook. And then you stick in here how many individual pictures you will store in this array. How many spaces for pictures. Just like we made an array of 10 numbers last day, it's really the same thing, except instead of numbers, we're storing pictures. So you have to decide how many pictures you have. I apparently have 30. So I'm going to, with great confidence, type in 30 here, but you have to count the number of pictures and go from there. Quick tip on Windows, you can just select all the images, and then look, I think it's at the bottom, somewhere along the bottom. I'll tell you how many files you have selected. I mean, they probably numbered in order, so, you know, it should be good. If this number is off, you're going to have an awful time because you're going to get too far beyond the array, or there won't be enough images to make it loop. There'll be all sorts of little things. So take a moment now just to make sure that you got the right number, and that's good. So normally, in our example last day, What was our array of numbers? What was the default number that got filled in there for the value of each thing in the array? Yeah, 0. That's right. What is the default picture, though? Is there like some kind of like image? You know, like when you get a Facebook profile, there's a default picture. No, there's no default picture. It's full of null pointers. Pointers are for these capital letter types or object types. That's sort of their default value. So that's no good. There's no picture attached. So we have to go and manually attach those pictures. And you could do it kind of an old, boring way. You could say a GIF. And the way you access any particular element is with the square brackets and then give its index, right? So I can say GIF sub 0, the first picture, equals, and then you can attach picture number 1 to it. But you know I'm not going to do it this way, right? Just so you know, no one types this down. This is sort of a way you could do it if you were if somehow I banned loops and said no more loops, and we can't automate anything, and wanted to make projects take a really long time, so we only ever made this one project all year, we could do it this way. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, though, I could say, GIF sub 0 equals, and then does anyone remember the function to load an image? Hint, I just said its name. Load image, you got it. Load image. And then you give a file name in quotations. So what's the first file for me? I can't say what it is for you, but I can press Command K, and I can go and look. Oh, look, whoops, I opened it. Didn't mean to do that. Here is the file name, frame underscore 02 underscore delay dash 0.03s.png, so I can load that picture. And that would be fine. That would work. Sorry, I can't quite scroll over. So there it is, semicolon. And you can just do that for the next one. You could cut and paste if you had to, if your life depended on it. Unfortunately, I can't cut and paste with Command C right now. I don't know what's going on. So I will look like a scrub and do it manually with the, look, all sorts of things. I can't press spacebar either. Oh, I can slowly. So then I can go to the next element in the array and load the next picture, right? So I could do it like this. GIF sub 1 equals load image. And I'll just, paste it in. Oops, I didn't mean to. I guess I could have just done that. I'll paste it in, and then I'll just change this to a 3. And I could do it that way, and I could do it 28 more times. And that would be fine, but we can do it a better way. So let's just kind of look at the relationship here. We have a number that's 0, 1, I'm just going to go 2, 3, 4, all the way to what number? What's the last index? Oh, nope. But it is the last number for actually I think it's 31 for the picture. But the last index of my array is 29, that's right. Because it's 30 long, and this is where the imbalance is happening. I don't know if did you guys get that too? Are your numbers off, or does yours start from 0? Oh, you guys are way better. So you don't have to worry about an offset at all. So maybe I won't even bother showing you this offset technique. Let's just pretend it starts at 0, and then 1, and so on. That just makes it much easier. If anyone had the offset, maybe I can show you afterwards. So so we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over here it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably you deleted the leading 0 as well from your file names. Hey, we can make something that counts from 0 to 29. We did it yesterday. We made something that counted from 10 to 42, and it counted all the powers of 2 for the first 10 powers of 2. It's a while loop or a for loop. I'll let you guys pick which one you want to do. Is there a preference, by the way? I heard for loop. Anybody want to prefer while loops? While loops? I'll do the while loop, and if you want to convert it as an exercise, you do it. But it's all really the same thing under the hood. So I'm going to make a variable right here called index, because that's what it means. And we're starting at 0. I'm going to keep on going as long as index is less than the length of my array, which is 30. So I'll go from 0 to 29. And then instead of manually loading all these things, I can replace in here, and I'm sorry I can't quite show you the whole thing, I can just replace in here the variable index to stand for that number and just do it once and repeat it over and over again. So help me out here. What do you think? What's going to happen? I'm going to delete this one. I know somebody in here knows it. And I'll just try and get it centered on here. Where am I going to put the word index to stand in for the numbers? Thanks, Allie.
So, in the where Like where the 0 is? Frame?
Yeah, right here. I'm going to stick an index. I can't just type in the word index, though, because then it'll try to load frame underscore index, the word index. So I want it to be the value of index. So do you remember how to do that?
Yeah, you end the double call.
Yep, so this ends as, that makes it one string. And I put one over here, too. And then how do I stitch it all together? Plus signs, that's right. Which are called, technically, if you want to be as nerdy as you can be, or as programmer savvy sounding as possible, in this case, that's called the concatenation operator. The word concatenate means to join two things together. Computer scientists just like to sound fancy, I guess. I don't know. But basically, we're gluing that together. We just replaced that number with index. So the first file we'll load is frame underscore 0 underscore delay, blah, blah, blah. The next time, well, we don't actually have the increasing index yet, but presumably next time we'll load frame underscore 1. Index will be replaced with the value of index. And then we'll stitch it together and we'll get the 1s and 0s and 3s and 10s and 29s and all that stuff. There's another place I got to do that, though. Where's the other place I need to put index? Go for it, Ali.
Index equals index. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one right here. It's right here. This is the actual index that I'm looking at. So I have to make sure I store the first picture in element 0 of the array, the second picture in element 1 of the array, and so on. So I put it in here, and I put it here, and then that will synchronize it nicely. For me, I have to put in a little bit of math, because, as I said, I'm starting at 2, not 0 in my file name, but your array still starts. And so if that's you, all I'm doing here is going to put in this in parentheses and say plus 2. So then I'm offsetting it by 2 each time. But you guys don't need to do that. Okay, so, hey, a while loop to the rescue. Isn't that much nicer than doing that 30 times? That would have been not so fun. It could have been, it was doable, but not fun. Xavier?
You have 150 images?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with the zeros?
Okay, I'll come back to that. Let me finish this off for the majority of people, but I actually will need to do that for this code to run. So I'll finish off with that. So I guess the next step is actually drawing the pictures to the screen. And we don't need a loop for that, by the way, because draw is a loop. It happens over and over and over again. So don't put a while loop in your draw function to show all the elements in the array, or every frame you'll show every single picture, and then the next frame will come and you show every single picture again. You just won't see anything. It'll be so fast. It will just be a blur. Actually, you'll probably just see the last image, or maybe the first. I don't know which one it would be. So you just want to show one picture at a time. Oh, wait, no, I did forget something, though. What did I forget? Help me. Go back. What did I forget here?
Index plus.
Yeah, this is actually an infinite loop, because index starts at 0. 0 is less than 30. Great. In index 0, I'll load frame 0.png, blah, blah, blah. Next time around, index is still 0. Whoa! It will just keep going forever, loading into index 0. So let me correct that, Ali. You are wise to say index plus plus or index equals index plus 1. You got to go to the next one. I'll just say index equals index plus 1. Yeah.
Does index plus plus work?
It totally does, yep. Not everyone's comfortable with it. Or is that true? Anybody? Do people like this better than index plus plus, or do people like plus plus better? It doesn't really matter. I mean, plus plus is just a special operator to increase by 1. I think most people have seen it, but I started with this, and mostly last year was kind of consistent with that. But you could just type in plus plus anytime you want to increase something by 1. Turns out you do a lot of that in programming, so they made a special operator to make that as fast as possible. Okay, meanwhile, we're moving on now to drawing our pictures. And so what we want to do is use the image function to draw the picture. Image just draws a picture. And so what picture do we want to draw? Well, we want to draw one of the 30 pictures that's in GIF, the array of pictures. So you could say GIF, sub, and then you need some variable here. So I'm going to make a new variable. I'm going to call it, what should I call it? It represents the index of the current picture I'm showing. That'd be a long variable name. I call it index of the current picture to show. Maybe I'll call it current pic. Good enough. We'll call it current pick. That implies that I should probably have a variable defined somewhere. And I am going to define it at the top of the screen in this global variable section, if I could get there. The reason why I'm doing that is because from one frame to the next, I got to remember where I was. So I'm going to put in int current pick equals 0 because I'm going to start at the beginning. And then I am good to go for this. It'll show picture 0 quite reliably, but I also want to go to the next picture. So after I show whatever picture I'm on, I should probably say current pick plus plus. And then last but not least, I have to make sure I don't go beyond the end of the array. If you go beyond the end of the array, it gives an error. It says array out of bounds. So how do you make sure you don't go to the end of the array? Use an if statement. So you just check after you increase it, hey, did I go beyond the end of the array? So I could say if current pick is greater than or equal to 30. Or I could just say greater than 29. I guess that would work too. Whatever you want to do. If you are not sure how many, I guess you have to know how many pictures you have. You just type that in. Greater than 29. Well, that means I should go back to the beginning, right? And the beginning is 0, so just reset that to 0. Current pick equals 0. Now, for some of you, if you got your numbers right, that's going to just work. And assuming that your file names are all consistent and start at numbered from 0, then that will be okay for you. Let me just indent that. I can't Command T right now, so I'll have to manually do it. Okay, so this is the basic setup. One question we have sort of in the back of our minds is, what about the leading zeros? Xavier's got 150 picture long GIF, so he's got multiple leading zeros he's got to put in there. He doesn't want to rename his files. We'll talk about that in a second. How about everything else? What are some other questions people have? So there's like 3 kind of distinct areas. There's the variables you need to make this work. There's the loop to load the images, and then there's this part here. It's not exactly a loop, but it is kind of because of draw, to show the images. Let me know, what kind of questions do you guys have about what's going on here? Let's start with the loop to load in the GIF. What are some things that people are not sure about other than leading 0? Anything confusing here? What's that? How to make it work? So do you feel like you understand what's happening? Like if you had to like explain to somebody like what's going on inside of the computer in this code, would you feel like you were confident with it? Or are you feeling like I just have some tiny glitch, some little thing I forgot and it's not working? Like where are we at here? You think you have a little glitch, you just can't find what it is. Okay, so I would double check your file names and make sure that they should match up, and also double check you got the right number of pictures. Those are probably the smallest little glitches to solve. Yeah, I don't know. And then no one else has a question about how this is generally supposed to work, like what's going on in the computer's memory. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I think I'll just kind of back off. I will answer Xavier's question though. So if you needed to put in leading zeros in front, here's what I did. I made a string variable, because the names of files aren't numbers or strings. You might have 2 zeros. And in an int, you can't store 2 zeros together. 0 is just 0. You can't put 2 zeros. Xavier needs 2 zeros. Not everyone does. So I made a string called leading zeros. And I made it equal to, for me, I just need 1 0 or no zeros. Xavier, you might need to have like multiple. So there's my leading zeros variable. And then as I'm going through this to load it, I just say, hey, if index is less than 10, then I'm going to set leading zeros to that. Else, I'm going to set leading zeros to nothing. And then I'll just add in leading zeros here every time. And I'll let this if statement here determine whether or not it's going to be a single zero or no zeros. And if you have 100 or more, you'll probably have to have a third possibility of it being 2 zeros. So like an if, else, and go from there. So then I just add in plus leading zeros plus that. So it'll add in possibly a 0 or not, and then the index. Okay? So I am going to stop the video because this is basically how we're going to make this happen. I'm not sure what will happen if I run it. Oh, I do know one thing that I have to do. In the file name, I have everything in a folder, so I have to put in the folder name here. So img/. So if everything is in a folder, put the folder name and a slash there as well. So sorry, one last thing. By the way, this is why if you watch a video of my teaching, you should probably watch it from end to end, because occasionally I get out of order when I do it live. I just do my best, and that's how you get the most out of it. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, I guess I am missing something else here, aren't I? Image needs coordinates of where to put it, so I'll put it at 0, 0. And I'll also stretch it to match the width and height of the screen. So 2 more parameters gives it its coordinate, and then the final 2 coordinates can give it a width and height. So I can kind of scale it down to my current thing. Let's run that and see how it goes. Oh, and I get to a problem. Nullpointerexception. Oh yeah, check it out. Look what it tried to load. And by the way, if you get an error, this is where, oh, you can't actually see that, can you? It's so dark. It's like eldritch text that is so dark. Only my eyes can see it. So the problem is, it says that for some reason it tried to load. It put a leading 0 in front of the 10. I'm actually not sure why that is. So for the most part, like this code seems to work, but it's like, if it's less than 10, shouldn't it be that? But I'll just make it less than 9, and I guess that will work. But basically, I added an extra leading 0 where I shouldn't have, and then I typed the thing by accident. See if that works. And null pointer. Oh, it still says I'm having problems loading a particular file. So it says, you can't read it, but it says the file img/frame_010. So I'll have to look into that specifically. I'm having some problem with my leading zeros code, and I'm not sure. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, and this will be valuable possibly to Xavier as well. Oh, yeah, I realize what the problem is. It's not my index that needs to be less than 10, because my file names start at 2. So it's actually index plus 2 that has to be less than 10, because it's not the index. Hopefully you guys don't have that problem where your index and your file names are not synchronized. But if you do, here's a solution. It's not less than 10. It's because my file numbers are 2 off from my index. I gotta check index plus 2. I'm pretty sure that's gonna make it work. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it might turn out that this activity alone is significantly challenging. I'm not sure how it's going to go. So I'm going to come around and just see if we got animated GIFs working. But please, do not mistake this exercise as if I got it to work, we're good. This is not about loading animated GIFs. It is about a lot of things that we might be rusty at. And all those little parts, any little thing you had a mistake on, don't just casually toss it aside. If it is something that you're not too sure that's going on, please do make sure you ask. And then maybe we'll just go over exactly what's happening in the computer's memory, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Hopefully that'll make it really clear. If you're just typing down the code and it's not working and it's just a little glitch, but you feel like you understand everything, that's fine, but I want to make sure that that's the case. Anyway, so we're going to stop the video somewhere. Where is OBS? There it is. And